Hello everyone, this is Jackie Williams and I'm excited to share with you today a fun fold card that I call the triple tent fold card. So when the card is flat, it just looks like a standard card, but when it's sitting up, it will look like this, and from the side view, it looks like this. So you have some different panels on the front that will be at some different depths when it's sitting open on display like so. So this is one sample that I wanted to show you using the Best Dressed suite. This one is another one that was in my collection. I didn't make this one and I'm not sure who did, but this one uses the Dragonfly stamp set and dies, and you can see it's the same fold. And then the one that I'm actually going to demonstrate for you today is using the Grace's Garden. So it looks flat like that, and then will sit open like so. And the little gates open, and we have a little kitty inside. But you can see that the fold is all the same on all of those. So let's do the fold first, and then from there, it's just embellishing. Okay, so I'm going to be using gray granite, and to create the base piece, you need a piece that's 4 1/8 by 8 1/4, and we just want to put 3 simple score lines on here. And this is creating, just to be clear, this is creating this piece here, this little like mountain valley fold. So we want to score this at, 1 1/2 inches, 3 inches, and 5 5/8 inches. Okay, then that will get fold mountain, valley, mountain. So it's going to sit like this. And you want to use your bone folder so those creases are really sharp so that your card will sit as nicely as possible. Then the second piece we want to create is this piece, the really tall piece here. So that piece needs to be 4 1/8 by 11 1/2 inches. Now I created these measurements so that they would be the same no matter what size of cardstock you're starting with, whether it be the American letter size or the metric A4 size. Either way, these measurements will work with the paper you have. So we're going to do some score lines here. We're going to do 1/2 and 11 and 5 3/4. Now this one, in that middle score line, needs to be folded in half. And then these two need to be folded in. So basically all those score lines, all those creases are going to be folded the same direction. These little ones are going to become your glue tabs, or where you adhere them. So I'm going to use tear tape because it's pretty strong on the inside of those tabs, like so. Okay, now I'll unpeel one of those. Okay, so this is going to be sitting in your card like this. And it's going to sit around that taller mountain. I'll show you the sample again. So there's the short mountain and the taller mountain, and then the third one. Okay, so this needs to sandwich. The first glue tab is going to go down in here into this valley. And then the second one will go on the very back. Now, I prefer to have it sitting like this. You could have it so it sandwiches around, but then I feel like you can then see this piece, and actually my adhesive's on the wrong side to do that. I feel like it just looks a little bit tidier to do it this way. Okay, so there you go. And well, it would actually sit like this, but there is your construction basically done. So from here, we just need to embellish. You may need to just crease that again just to make it lie nice and flat. All right, so now you can make the embellishing as simple or as complicated as you would like. So this is probably a little more on the complicated level. You can of course take steps out or do different things with it. So we are using, well, I'm using today the Grace's Garden bundle, which is a stamp set and dies. I thought it was a cute one to use because it had this fun gate that we could use on the front. Now this piece, this gray granite piece is 4 inches by 5 1/8 inch. And then we have one that's 4 inches, by 1 1/2. And these two pieces are basically just sitting on the back and the front of the two panels that are going to be facing forward. So the first thing we need to do is cut the little archway out of the back here. And I want to have it centered right and left, and then just put it not quite in the middle, maybe down a little bit further. And don't worry about exactly where it is, because the gate, this gate on the front, will just line it up. We'll just position it higher or lower to match where this is. I'm going to take my gray granite ink on the gray granite cardstock and just stamp the tall flowers. I believe these are hollyhocks. There we go. And then on both of these pieces, I'm going to use the brick embossing folder. Love that brick background. It's a really great folder. Now, I'm going to take my Whisper White ink and just rub that along the bricks. Now, this particular folder has, some of the bricks are more recessed than the others, so only some of them will pick up the ink. But I think that's quite a nice look too. Now let's work on this background piece first. So I think I can go ahead and adhere this on. Like so. Now I have cut that same archway in Whisper White to fit inside for my words. I did that because it's just easier to guess where the words need to be stamped. However, you could just have a square or a rectangle of white behind there if you would prefer. I'm just going to stamp my words about there. And I stamped those in the Memento Black. And it is from the Grace's Garden stamp set as well. So then that can slide in to that little gap there. And then I also cut a gate, and I'm just going to cut those little actual gates off. So I just have that archway left, and I'm going to place that archway around. It just finishes off that edge there nicely. And we will use the gates on the front. The Tombow is really good because you can move it a little bit and reposition it until you're quite happy with how it looks. Just briefly. Okay, then we'll go ahead and put this little piece of, the gray granite mat onto our little front tab here. So now I have a second gate that I've cut out of the thick Whisper White. We just want to cut right up the middle. I'm going to go ahead and crease that so that they open. It's easier to do it now rather than later. Okay, so then that is going to be positioned so it will sit just so when the card is closed, it overlaps exactly over that existing arch. but I want to use these other gates. These ones we can cut right so that it finishes right at that last post. And we might as well use those and put those over here. It's actually easiest if you put this big one down first. However, this gate needs to tuck underneath. So I'm just going to put adhesive like right here on this little edge. So that I can go back and add more adhesive later, but just to get it in place. I probably put too much there. Let's take some of that off. That's good. So now we just want to put these ones on. So I'm just going to put a little adhesive along the bottom here and slide that underneath so that it's lined up with the edge and lined up with the bottom of the gate here. You just want to be careful to not have adhesive up at the top, so just keep your adhesive down here at the bottom. And there we go. That wasn't too hard. Now we just want to add some color and some embellishing. So let's add our kitty cat. Now I'm going to use the 2 crumb cake blends, but you can of course color in your kitty cat any way that you like. And I have stamped the kitty in the Memento Black, but I have stamped her off first, so it's more like a gray black. And then in the die set, there is a little die to cut kitty out. Now to put the kitty in, again, you just want to have adhesive down here at the bottom. Depending, of course, where you want to position the cat, you could put him or her on the fence or somewhere else, but I'm going to put him in here like so. And then we just want to add some flowers. So in this die set, there are some kind of like vine sort of dies, and they come with 4 daisy dies and 2 of the rose dies. So you can use a combination of any and all of those. Just be a little careful with your glue that you just put glue kind of down the middle of the vine so that it's not where you don't want it. And also, I did remark when I first made this, you just want to place the vines that are along the gates here so that they don't interfere with the opening of the gate. So those ones need to go a little more to the side, like so. Now, if you end up with any glue spots or spots you're not happy with, don't worry, because we can cover those with our flowers. And then I'm just going to put 1 inside here. I have 2 inside the first sample I did because I had a big ink mark. Okay, then we just want to add our flowers. Then once your flowers are all added and you're happy with how they look, then you can just add some flower centers if you would like. I'm going to use the Melon Mambo enamel dots. Beautiful. I love how happy that looks. Now, if you want to add just a little bit more sparkle, you can add some rhinestones. I'm going to use the champagne rhinestones because I like the color of these, and just add those in wherever you think they kind of fit, and just add a little bit more color to this project. And it's also another way to add or to cover up any little smudges or glue marks that you might have had. Then the last thing is we want to have a little place to write. So I'm going to ink up one of the flowers, and I am going to stamp that off. Oops, I need to orient that the right way. And this is also 4 by 5 1/8 inch to fit on the back of the card. And then we'll just quickly color that with our blend. I'm going to use Old Olive, Daffodil Delight, Light Calypso Coral. Yeah, I'll use those. There we go. That coordinates in pretty well. And that will then go on the back of our card. And then for our envelope, I'm just going to stamp the hollyhocks again. Okay, so there you go. Now I'm going to show you the other samples again. So this one with the dragonfly, you can see it's the same setup, but on the background, it's just a simple piece of very vanilla card with some dotty stamps and a die cut put on it. So there was no extra embossing or cutting windows or anything. And then rather than having the gate on the front, it's just a piece of about, it's about 3.5 by 2.5 inch square approximately, with just a doily and a die cut and some stamping. So it's very much simplified. And also note that this one is off to the left hand side, whereas this one I have it centered, so you've got some options there. And then this one is probably even a little more simple because it's just a piece of printed paper, so there's no stamping or cutting or coloring or anything. Another piece of printed paper, then it's very subtle, but I've embossed on here and then just stamped and colored and die cut out one focal image and then added some embellishments. So any of those options work, or something else that works for you and with the images that you would like to use for your project. So I hope that you give that one a try, and I'd love to see what you make with that one. Enjoy. Thanks for watching.